What's going on, everybody? My name is Jason. Welcome to Redfish Bluefish, the channel that examines art, nature, and science through the lens of the aquarist. And it's Saturday morning. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and choosing to hang out with me. Means a lot. I had a tough time dragging myself up out of the house this morning. Last night was a sleepless night for some weird reason. I know you guys have them. They are very unpleasant, but we're still here, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, all of that good stuff. And we have a lot of people in here with us today. It looks like 24 in here right now, and I don't even know how many thumbs ups. Thanks so much, guys, for coming by and hanging out. I was here at 8 a.m. my time, chilling with you guys, chit-chatting with people in chat. See a lot of new, not new faces, but people I haven't seen here in a while. I really appreciate that. It looks like we had a little bit of a Catfish Terry raid, man. I really appreciate that, Terry. Yeehaw! Showing your support there, man, means a lot to me. But you know, the last couple of episodes we've done, more than a couple, I think 4 or 5 deep now. We've been doing some pretty deep science stuff, and I think the last one was a little maybe too dry. Didn't do as well as some of my other live streams, which is a bit of a bummer. But, you know, these things happen. You kind of test the waters. And once in a while you go a little too deep on a subject, and people are like, whoa, I don't need to know, you know, at a molecular level what's going on. So I thought we would take a little bit of a break. I actually need a break due to lack of sleep. Doo-doo. You said doo-doo. We're gonna get into an episode where we're just gonna, you know, like I say at every episode, this is the channel where we examine art, nature, and science. We've gone pretty deep on science. We're going to chill and just kind of chit-chat and soak in and enjoy some art and nature. For me, nature is art. There's really no difference. I don't know how you guys feel, but before we do that, I am very pleased to continue the top 10 early birds. Not everybody likes it. I think I get some dislikes, quite frankly, because of it. I have gotten some constructive feedback. Not everyone digs it, but you know, the last episode I caught in chat, a buddy of mine, Natural Aquariums, neighbor down in Oregon way, said that I believe it was his son, 95% sure it was son. We'll just say offspring. Natural Aquarium's offspring suggested that instead of the top 10 early birds where we start at first place and work down to 10, we flip that. We start at 10th place and go down to number 1. And that's what we're going to do this time. I like that idea. I appreciate the feedback. So this episode in 10th place, we have Color Guppies. Appreciate that, Color Guppies. Thanks for coming by, man. 9th place, Catfish Terry. Yeehaw. Appreciate that Catfish Terry raid, my friend. 8th place, we have Scott's Aquatics. Appreciate the support, man. And 7th place, Speak of the Devil. Really nice guy, actually. Not a devil at all. Natural Aquariums. Natural Aquariums, congratulations on 7th place. 6th place, buddy of mine, Sean OOTD. Sean, congratulations. 5th place goes to Leah Jet. Leah Jet, thanks so much. And I have a confession to make. Every time I see your name in chat, for some reason, I think Joan Jett. So, Leah Joan Jett, congratulations. You got 5th place. 4th place goes to Laura Sutton. Laura, thank you so much. I appreciate that. 3rd place, yes, you're right, Patrick, goes to Dragon Lair. Dragon Lair takes 3rd place. 2nd place, we're getting close, goes to Jeffrey Watts. Mr. Jeffrey Watts, thank you so much. You're such an awesome supporter, man. It means a lot to me. And in 1st place this time, guys, this is it. We have Kyle's Aquarimetrics. Kyle's Aquarimetrics. Congratulations, man. Thank you so much. And thank you to each and every one of you if you didn't make the whole top 10 early bird. A shout out thing, not to worry. Just come on by at 8 a.m. We're talking about mycology. We're talking about fish keeping, plant keeping, aquatics, all kinds of subjects before the show starts. That's 2 hours before the show starts. That's when I start making a list of names. So anyway, guys, I really appreciate you coming by and being early and participating. It really does help with the metrics and promotion and all that good stuff, all the stuff that the YouTube algorithm looks for. But like I said, let me switch over to this screen here and see if I've missed anything super awesome, huge in chat. All right. Hey, we got Jeeps and things in here. Hey, bro, appreciate you coming by. That is my brother tuning in from Texas. Tuning in from way across the country. Awesome, guys. So it looks like I don't have anything going on too much. Fishimon64 was in 23rd place. That's okay, man. We love you all the same. Doesn't matter one bit. So guys, if you know, throughout this this live stream, if you have any comments for me, please remember to @redfish bluefish. It really helps me out in these kind of cruddy eyes, my kind of cruddy eyesight. I often miss a lot of stuff. So we got 35 in here and 23 thumbs ups. And without further delay, let's get going. This episode, we're going to look at some really killer aquascapes that I pulled over the last couple of days. These are photos. These are photos of aquascapes, professional aquascapes. These are from the International Aquatic Plant Layout Contest, the IAPLC 2020, last year. It feels weird to say that 2020. It's 2021. But last year's IAPLC had some really, really great work. A lot of people who are into aquascapes and planted tanks and, you know, nature is art is nature, that whole thing. It was quite a treat, which was welcome. Everyone's stuck at home with this stupid crap going on still, getting better, but still. I thought we would dig into some of the less mentioned, and the, well, I'll tell you at the end what I'm shooting for. But let's get going. I picked 10 of them out like the description of this video says. This is number 1. I wanted to share some of these guys, some of these aquascapes with you guys, and kind of go over what I think about it and why it kind of stands out to me. Obviously, this person is shooting for a straight up Brazilian style aquascape. This is what I would term, I mean, I don't want to insult the person. This is a really great aquascape. Fantastic layout. The reflection is good. Could be better. You want to usually shoot for more reflection on the water surface. You want more of that to come out in your photograph. But I don't want to talk about photography. This is about aquascapes. This is what I would actually consider a bit of a basic, in fact, Brazilian aquascape. Kind of a key feature of the Brazilian aquascapes is that typically up front, I mean, you're always going to have some kind of a path made out of pebbles, path made out of I don't know, sand, cosmetic sand. It could be anything. A little chipped remnants of all kinds of stone, whatever. You could use anything you want. But there's always going to be a path in a Brazilian style, a true Brazilian style aquascape. And a feature of it is that up front, you usually don't have a whole lot of hardscape going on. A very minimal hardscape, few stones, maybe a little bit of wood showing. It's real heavy on the mosses and real heavy on the epiphytes up front, like boos, you know, moss and stuff like that. Really, especially moss heavy. And then as you work towards the midground of the aquarium, that's where you start, you know, if it's a true Brazilian style, then you want these bands of stem plants that you kind of like an actual, like when you're landscaping hedges, you want to keep them trimmed down in these edges that meet in this focal point. And most important about the Brazilian style, not necessarily dense, you know, lines of stem plants, which are important, but layers of them that differ in texture and or color. And you have all of those elements here. I kind of say sort of a beginner's take, I think, on a Brazilian style aquascape, because they're so they went really kind of light up front on epiphytes. I mean, I see a couple of, you know, some boos, a little bit of boos. It looks like we have some, let me switch over to my other view so I can see better. We definitely have some Hydrocaudale tripartita on the left side. And it's kind of arranged in in a bushy kind of clump that is not really kind of typical of a Brazilian style. Usually a plant like that they would let kind of creep a little bit, but they would contain it. That little patch of hydrocotyledon tripartita on the left side of the screen is manicured down to almost in like a tight pod, like a Dutch style, which is kind of weird. That stands out as a little bit of a, I wouldn't have done that. But this is a pretty darn good take on what I would consider kind of a beginner's or maybe an intermediate take on a Brazilian style aquascape. Definitely, like I say, I would have gone heavier up front with more boosts, more epiphytes. That hydrocotyledon tripartita, I'm not even sure if it fits, honestly. And I love that plant, but I'm not sure if it fits in this aquascape at all. I would have probably omitted that and gone with a little bit of wood there, just a little bit, like cut a knot off of a oak tree root. That, you know how they kind of come back up out of the ground and go down, something like that instead. Anyway. That's number one. I picked that one out because it's definitely representative of what I consider, like I said, a beginner to a beginner intermediate take on a Brazilian style. So the second one I picked out, this is definitely not technically, I would, well, it's not a Brazilian style, but it's a really good, I would consider a beginner's take on a diorama. It's a take on a diorama, really, is what it is. And let me just say, I apologize for the formatting. How we have some black at the bottom of the window there. The aspect ratio on a lot of these photos are like ultra wide. So without, I didn't want to clip any of the, I didn't want to clip off any of the art. I wanted us to be able to enjoy it in its entirety as much as possible. So apologies for the black band. But here we have. Again, you see front right corner. See that little carpeting plant? More hydrocotyledon tripartita. That's definitely not the mini version. That's just regular tripartita. That's more of a natural way to let it spread out a little bit. That's a much wiser way to use this, I think. Okay, this is definitely more of a what I would consider a beginner's level diorama. So a diorama is where typically you're playing with depth perception, and there's almost always a path, some kind of little path, or even multiple paths that get skinnier as they move towards the back of the tank. Now they usually put these tanks together. With paths that get skinnier quite quickly, only 6 or 5 or inches away from the front pane of glass. They make them appear skinnier. They get them skinny quite early, and it gives kind of this early sensation of depth that's just not there in these aquariums. So this is a good take on it. It could do better. In that with a diorama, usually what you want to do is it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but with dioramas, what you usually want to do, well, let me back up. With regular aquascapes and aquariums, what you normally want to do is put your largest, pieces of hardscape towards the back, and your smallest pieces of hardscape, towards the front. And the reason is, the reason for that is the thinking is, well, if you put your big giant hardscape and all that in the front, you're not going to be able to see, fish and what have you, what's going on in the tank. That's why they put it in the back. But with dioramas, they flip that on its head. They find much larger pieces of hardscape that are compatible and that won't block out too much of the viewing area at all, and they put that up front. And as they add more hardscape towards the back of the aquarium, that's where they add the smaller and smaller and smaller hardscape, and that really plays with our sense of depth perception. And they can get pretty dramatic results if that style is done very well. This, I would say, is not, unfortunately, done horribly badly. It's not bad, but where they kind of messed up is that you have this huge, well, I think they got confused, to be honest with you. They started to go with the two hills. They call it two hills, which is, it might not be two hills of substrate. It could be two giant gnarly logs or two big piles of stones, or combination of substrate and stones jutting out of it is very common. But it's like they started with the two hills method, and then they decided, well, you know what, let's just throw in a path for good measure, and let's see where it takes us. Well, the problem with that is when you mix those two styles and you don't have much smaller, in this case, sticks, like a lot more wood, like a lot smaller wood to add and get smaller and smaller as you add it towards the back, you don't get that same really strong sense of depth perception, that depth that you can get when it's done right. So this is a decent effort. I'll give them that. This is not a bad effort at all. But again, this kind of gets stuck in between the two hills, and the diorama kind of wants to be Brazilian, but not. It's a little bit messy, but nice. So moving on. Okay, now this is a very good representation of a straight up diorama. Not a Brazilian style, though, at all. I'll let you guys soak that in while I scroll up, see what I missed in chat. I think a lot of naughty jokes going on about Brazilians. Okay. Pardon me? Oh. Here we go, guys. This, like I was saying, this is a very, very strong representation of a very well put together diorama style aquascape. Now, like I said, I just said in the last one, diorama is typically, you're almost always these days going to find paths in it. And here you have 1, 2 paths that kind of diverge and come together and fork again. I can't really see around this central kind of offset pillar, the stump or whatever. But the reason why I say that this is particularly strong here is that look towards the center of the screen, about 2/3 down from the top. You see the really, really small pieces of hardscape with moss glued to the top of them. Very, very small. There's 3 of them in a row, and they get larger as they get closer. I assure you that this aquarium is not very deep at all. But this was very, very masterfully done to give a really strong sense of great depth that is simply not there. This is not a very deep aquarium at all. This is a very, very great example of a diorama, of a very well put together diorama. Looks like they're working with. So I see up front a little bit of Java fern, looks like needle leaf, a little bit of needle leaf plugged into the central pillar, and definitely that's Marsilea hirsuta up front. See these kind of definitely towards the front, but kind of towards the left. These little tiny leaves, that green, a little bit of yellow on the ends of the leaves. It's some boost in there, but there's definitely Marsilea hirsuta in there, maybe even Marsilea crenata. Yeah, this is a very, very nicely done aquarium. There's definitely some Rotala pink in there. Rotala pink, perhaps even Rotala H raw, that they're giving plenty of nutrition to. Very, very nice. Very, very strong use of depth perception, playing with our depth perception and giving the perception of depth that's just simply not there. Very well done. So we're going to move on from there. And I can't remember what I had next. We're going to find out. It's going to be a bit of a mystery. Oh, here we go. This is easily one of my favorite aquariums, Aquascapes, that I was able to pull out of the IAPLC from last year, 2020. I simply call this just a straight up beautiful jungle style nature aquarium. This is one of my favorites in this whole series. The person did a really good job of actually, if you sit back and you look at the leaves on the selection, they're all the same. I mean, they're virtually the same. You have some rotala in there. It looks like some H-raw, back right side, upper right, possibly upper left too. It looks like it could be all the same sort of H-raw, maybe rotala mixed. But if you think about it, you don't have any grasses in there. I don't see any grasses at all. We see oval or ovoid leaves, if you prefer. I see some mosses in there, but you have very, very similar leaf shapes when you look at the big picture on this work of art. It's fantastic. But they did a really, really great job of playing with color. Actually, I do see some AR in there. I see some Alternanthera reynickii. Kind of horizontally towards the left. Yeah, you see some AR in there, guys. See that pink plant? There's definitely some AR in there. That's nice. Yeah, this is definitely, there's wood. I see, I can pick out some black pearl booths. You see above the camera that you see my face in. There's definitely some booths, SP black pearl there. That's exactly what that is. Yeah, Bucephalandra. Really nice. Yeah, pardon me. Well, you guys enjoy this. Hopefully enjoy this. I'm going to scroll up and see what I've missed. Yeah, Alex, exactly. That's some extreme light on that thing. And they did a really good job of not losing on this photograph. They often do it on jungle tanks. They're real bad about it. They got enough reflection in there to make the judges happy enough to where it made it. I mean, it made it. I'll tell you guys a little surprise about all of these at the very end. If we can make it through it, man, I'm kind of spending too much time on some of these. But yeah, this is a fantastic example of just a straight up jungle style where they used a lot of wood, a lot of rocks. It looks like lava, actually. They went with lava on this one. It does not look like Siriu to me. This is straight up lava, which is amazing. That's not a common choice in these professional aquascapes. Pretty bold, well done. Okay, let's move on. This is number 5, guys. Remember I selected 10. I hope we can get through them. Number 5, here we go. Now this is an example of something you don't often see. You don't often see an aquarium like this. Why did I pick this one out? Well, this is actually a very simple aquarium. This is very, very simply done. They spent time cutting some more wood. People call it spider wood. There's all kinds of different names for it. It's basically the little bundle of wood with a bunch of tendrils and roots sticking off of it. They took the time to cut them up and to glue them into these shapes and to basically glue them on top of what is very obviously Siriu stone. This is Siriu stone for sure. Some people call it Chinese cloud stone. It's all the same stuff. Siriu stone actually comes from all over Asia. It's not just from Japan or China. There's deposits of it in Korea. It's all over the place. But the reason why this stands out to me, and this did place in the IAPLC 2020 for sure. The reason why this stands out, and this is pretty not common, is that the lighting up front is very obscure. You see, it's very, very suppressed. There's not a whole lot of lighting up front. And I'll tell you that the person that did this was, I don't believe, a very advanced aquascaper, but they're a very smart aquascaper. They found good Siriu stone and they let it do the talking for the aquascape. And that's a big part of Takashi Amano's secrets, to his aquascapes. He would spend just immense amounts of time looking for the correct stones. And he would discard 99% of everything he came across. Too small, too bad, too boring, too amazing. It clashes with this, it clashes with that. He would just discard virtually anything that was presented to him until he found the right combination of stuff that worked. This person did a good job of letting the beauty and the kind of the mystery, I mean, I'm sorry if I sound kind of cheesy, but the mystery of Sirius stone, they let it do the talking in this. And they put a lot of wood, glued wood together, and they got they did a pretty good job on the perspective. And then they just went to town with mosses, just moss, 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 moss. I see a little bit of what could be Rotala, it looks like H-Raw. It looks like Rotala H-Raw. There's a little bit of pink in there. It could be wrong. It's very difficult. But this is a very smart aquascape. And this would require, honestly, this is the kind of aquascape that if you want to try one at home, but you're worried about it putting you through the ringer in terms of maintenance, in terms of maintaining this stuff, and I got to do 1 million water changes a month and trim it constantly. One like this is quite smart to get into at home. Very, very good job on this one. So let me jump ahead, and this is number 6. I think I know which one this is. Yes, 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 yes. Very, very wide aspect on this one. Apologies for the black bar at the bottom, but I selected this because this person definitely understands how to use water surface reflectiveness to great effect, great effect. So you see, we have what is obviously some lily leaves, lily pads here. And you see how they come off the surface with that really beautiful, delicate bend, to the stems there. And we've got some grasses. We've got some kind of rotalas, possibly even, it's hard to even tell. Let me switch over to my larger window. Looks like we definitely rotala, several types of rotala. In fact, looks like Rotala Fujian. In fact, upper right, I think that is Fujian. And then we've got some Rotala Pink or Rotala H-Raw possibly. Rotala Type 2 possibly. But you see, the reason why this really, really stands out to me is that this person, I'm sorry guys, my throat's kind of bothering me. This person definitely understands what's going on with using the reflectiveness of your water surface to really open up and add depth. Instead of, that background depth, we're going for a vertical depth that's not there. It's an optical illusion. So much of this is. Something that also stands out to me is that this person did spend a lot of time doing something you normally don't see, putting a lot of mosses up front on what is very obviously wood. It looks like we have a little log up there, and it's very, very densely planted, and that can only come with a lot of moss and a lot of glue, or a lot of twine perhaps, if they didn't use glue. I doubt it. I think they probably used glue on this. But you can see, even going to the back, tons and tons and tons of moss. And it looks like, once again, we've got Marsilea, looks like Marsilea hirsuta in the front on this one. Yeah, it's a very, very well done aquarium here. It could be Alexander Williamson with a secret history living in your aquarium here as a comment. Is that super high CO2 and light Ludwigia arcuata narrow on the top right? It could be. I don't know if it's arcuata, to be honest. It's just, the image is too small, even for me, and it's on my, there's just so much. It's such a wide aspect photograph, so the individual leaves are shrunk down. But it looks like definitely got some bulbitis going on there too, kind of sort of middle, slightly left. Yeah, really, really nice stuff. So let's move on. This is numero 7. Now this is, well, I'll tell you right off the bat, I love it. I'm a big sucker for stems. I love rotalas, and not just Rotala rotundifolia and its rotundifolia-like SP species. I really like Rotalas because there's so much different color and texture and variability that you get in them. There's so many varieties, let alone species. But here we have a very strong, very simple, I call it a diorama, but it's really the two hills meets path. Really, it's just a path running down the two hills style, which is not at all unique. But this guy, I looked him up. He's from Turkey. This is a Turkish artist who put this one together. Spent a lot of time on that little path, and I really like the chipped Sirius stone that he put down at the beginning of the path. It really adds direction, you know, because all Sirius stone has veins in it. What you have there is a focal point. What those two hills come down, they come down and they make a focal point to give you some depth. And this one actually does have, it looks like a Eleocharis. It looks like Eleocharis grass growing in this. This green grass up front and down the path, for sure. This is a pretty strong representation of the two hills, kind of a path meets two hills method. I'm going to jump over real quick and see, catch up with chat, guys. John Larson with a very fair comment there. Great looking tanks. I'd hate to be a judge at an event like this. Yeah, me too. It's just, there's so many of these scapes are just from incredibly talented people, really resourceful, gifted people, and so much of the score and who won and who didn't. It's just completely up to the judge, you know, completely. I mean, no one really gets why they kind of make some of the calls that they make. Man, am I frozen again? Jeez. Oh, here we go. Okay, guys, I don't think I missed anything. Let's continue. That was number 7. Yeah, this is, again, to touch on this obvious use of Sirius stone. They've got Rotala SP green, Rotala SP pink, Rotala H-Raw for sure. Looks like, what is that up front? Hygrophila araguaia, no doubt. Hygrophila araguaia, no question. Eleocharis, yeah, that's that green grass up there. And we've got some star repens actually up front. I didn't notice that before. At the base of that kind of stone mountain sort of center of screen, that's definitely star repens. Yeah, very, very nicely done. You're going to be, it's this many stem plants, you're going to be trimming, you're going to be shearing this aquarium like sheep, for sure. With that level of light and without doubt CO2 and water column fertilization. Yeah, very nicely done though. I like it a lot. All right, guys, let's move forward to number 8. Actually, before we do, give me just a moment. Okay, guys, back. Sorry about that. Okay. Moving forward to number 8. Now, this is a unique, definitely for sure, aquascape. This this aquascaper came out of Vietnam, for sure. I did a little bit of reading up on this person. I like it a lot, and I really like it because this aquascaper used something that you don't normally see. It looks like, I could be wrong, but it looks like exclusively petrified wood. It looks like petrified wood. It really does. And what's interesting is that if you look, it's pretty much all green, and you don't see a lot of really strong placing aquariums in the IAPLC that kind of are only green or only one color, only focus on one color or another. Yes, and absolutely, Dragon Lair. I was just going to say I'm reading notes here on my screen. I always make notepad notes or Word document notes. Pardon me, guys. I'm sorry. not only did this person go out on a limb and use something that's, if you can find it and it's real petrified wood, and this definitely looks like it to me, it's very expensive to buy. That kind of was I'm going to say it kind of ballsy a little bit. Exotic hardscapes, or not exotic, but hardscapes that trend away from the norm often don't place super well in these competitions. And this person went out there and went with petrified wood and kept everything green, except for a little bit of AR. There's some AR up front, kind of bottomish right. I see some Hydrocotyla verticillata for sure. That's actually quite tall. That might be Hydrocotyla vulgaris. That's quite tall, given that level of light that it took for that that carpeting effect. Yeah, that's almost certainly vulgaris. But yeah, this person kind of did a really good job on taking a risk. Very nicely done. I'm thinking that the lighting at the back was subdued for the photograph, for sure. See the bottom right, bottom left? It's quite shadowy. There's no way that this person would have gotten that level of plant growth if that were the normal state of light towards the rear of this aquarium. So, yeah, this is very, very nicely done natural aquarium. I don't see any... You know, something that's quite heavy in a lot of these IAPLC aquariums, at least last year, was Marsilea. Marsilea crenata, Marsilea hirsuta, both of those. I don't know if I see any in this. Oh, Dragonland, that's great news. A lot of petrified wood in your streams. That's nice. Yeah, and Xanadudu saying you got a friend with a bunch of it and won't let it go. I don't blame that friend. I mean, you want to share a little bit, but you can't give away the fatherland. But yeah, this is very nicely done. I saw a comment from Paul Soteris saying these tanks are generally not long-term. That's very true. But that's not an absolute. I have had aquascapes going for a couple of years, and as long as they will run for as long as you keep up with them. The more light and CO2 and nutrition you're pumping into them, the more often you need to maintain them. It's that simple. It's that simple. And it gets pretty controversial. There's some photos and videos of people claiming, oh, this is an aquarium I did or my buddy did, and it's totally low tech. There's no water first. There's no CO2. We change the water once every 10 years, blah, blah, blah. And it's an aquarium that's just absolutely breathtaking. I'm sorry, but I've been doing this for a long time, and I call foul on claims like those. Anyway, guys, it looks like we got 52 people in here and 33 likes. Thanks so much, guys. I really appreciate that. Sorry for my little divergence there. I kind of got sucked into this aquarium. This is really nicely done. I want to spend some time. I don't think this person's ever placed before in the IAPLC, and the use of petrified wood and keeping it all green. It was some very bold choices here, and kudos to this person for placing. All right, guys, that was number 8, actually. We only have 2 more to go. Number 9. Now this is obviously this is this is kind of a carpeting, a very heavily man. It's really hard to call this one because it wants to really. It's so carefully manicured towards the back and those little pods. It almost wants to be Dutch meets Diorama. Meets the kind of a generic path. I mean, I can call it a Diorama aquarium because they have a pretty decent sized piece of wood up front left, lower left, and smaller pieces of wood, definitely much smaller pieces of wood towards the back. Definitely adding to the depth perception, the play on depth of this aquarium. You know, very nicely done. I particularly like that this artist is really good at making the hardscape appear like it's been there for a long, long time. like it's just actually, like it's just naturally been covered by sediment and what have you. Nice work on the shadow on the hardscape, especially up front. Now I do see Marsilea all over the place in this aquarium, no doubt. This is choked with it. Yeah, dragon lair, absolutely. The secret history living in your aquarium. This is a 120p, so not super deep. This is very, very well done. The aquarium. Pardon me, guys. You see the upper edge of the hardscape, basically where the path ends, is what I'm saying. The upper edge of the hardscape. I'm sorry, I'm speaking not too good today. Follow the path up and towards the back, where it ends at the back. That is not terribly far below the water line. So that just shows you how much they build the depth in these aquariums up, while also playing with big pieces of hardscape up front, much smaller in the back, and then making that, it's very important to make that path really wide and big up front, and then draw it in real quick and keep drawing it in quite drastically as you move it to the back. And then as you get at the back and you're still kind of making that path, I mean, it's like a little tiny skinny trickle of sand or gravel, whatever you're using at that point. Very, very nicely done. Yeah, I agree, Chevy Fish. I really like this scape as well. And apart from the stems at the back, I see some Bucephalandra in there for sure. Apart from the stems at the back, this would not be a particularly difficult aquarium to maintain. In fact, gosh, you know what? Now I have to say it, man. There's some elements of the Brazilian style in there too. I mean, this is all over. This is a very, very masterful aquarium. So I wanted to give this person a shout out. Don't have their name, but whoever did this, placed in the IAPLC, very, very nicely done. Okay, guys, we're down to the last one, number 10. Apologies for the black bar at the bottom, but this is an example of a really, really nicely done iwagumi. Really nicely done. You can see that they've mixed it in with putting paths here and there. There are at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, perhaps 7 or 8 more paths. And they've really taken the time to grow tons, what appears to be tons and tons of moss on, it looks like, well, it's so completely covered. It could be cereal, it could be wood, but the moss in the middle, it looks like it could be rock, it could be stone, but this took an immense amount of work to pull this off. This is not something that you see very often. This is truly an iwagumi made out of moss, which is very, very difficult to do and can go horribly, horribly wrong. If you blast it with too much light, you don't do your water changes. I mean, if you start getting hair algae and nasty hitchhikers mixed in with your mosses, your beautifully lovely mosses like this, it is such a bummer. So whoever did this, wow. And look, once again, oh, actually, you know what? I was going to call it Marsilea. This is not Marsilea. This is Monte Carlo. Yeah, it's Monte Carlo for sure. Yeah, this one is really, really incredible. And the use of rummy nose tetras in it. Come on, guys, come on. If you can't get behind this one, then you're just a bummer, man. You're just a bummer. Now, again, shout out to this. I hesitate to even say aquascaper. This artist, this really, really incredibly done. I will say that with that amount of light that it takes to keep up with that carpeting and have that algae, listen to me, that moss, not algae, but moss, that dense and that green and that healthy, they're definitely dosing the water column like crazy, A, injecting tons of CO2, B, and C, they use that really, really white sand for that glaring contrast. And white sand is incredibly reflective, obviously, and this incredibly reflective white sand, when you put highlight on top of it, it just reflects all the light. Algae, you will always get algae on that stuff. I've always gotten it. But this, guys, this is number 10. These aquascapes are, I'd say, out of looking at a decent number of them, these are the ones that stood out to me, and I wanted to talk about it and to give them a little bit of a shout out because, and this will hopefully be a little bit surprising to you. Let me run back down through them. This is 9. Really lovely. 8. Now this is that amazing natural looking, very, very natural looking. I mean, I'm going to say it again, ballsy. It was ballsy. It was really ballsy to use petrified wood, make it look so natural like that, and just go with basically all green, a little touch of red. Really nicely done. That's the petrified wood. 7. This is the guy, a guy from Turkey. Again, really, really bold move on mixing that many stems together and going with that path down the middle, starting it off with that broken chips of Sirius stone, it looks like. Very, very well done. And the use of that little patch of Araguaia, actually, up front, is just nicely done. That's number 7. Number 6, again, props to this person. Definitely understand using the reflective nature of a still aquarium, like when you're not, purposefully agitating the water surface to make it look busy. The surface of, in the right aquascape, I would say, a still surface, a water surface, can be such a powerful tool, not to be discounted or forgotten. Yeah, I agree, Leajet. Lamp eyes would be amazing. That's a good call. So this is number 6. This person definitely understands how to use reflection. 5. This was, again, this stood out to me because it's really quite simple, but very, very effective. This person let the Siriu do the talking and kept the light up front quite low. There's no mosses, nothing up front. Very nicely done. Again, this would be a really good candidate if you wanted to stand up an aquascape at home. Go with something lower light like this. Keep the light low, kind of up front. Could be something to take a shot at. Number 4. Oh, this again. I just got to ooh and ah over this one. This hardcore jungle tank is just. Whew. That's something else, man. Yeah, that's tons of, I keep getting drawn back to the massive amount of Bucephalandra SP Black Pearl that was used in this. There's no question about it. Maybe even some Skeleton King. Yeah, a ton of plants went into this and lots of wood. Yeah, this is a very masterful jungle tank here. But for sure, you're going to be working on it with your shears out at least weekly on that. All that Rotala in the back, oh man, the AR alone is going to need to be trimmed at least every 2 weeks, and then replanted for sure. All right, number 3. This was like the penultimate example of a diorama. It's big pieces of wood and hardscape up front, much, much smaller as we get to the back, especially the extreme back. Look right in the middle of the screen there. You can see how small they got with little teeny tiny pieces of aquascape. This is definitely not an incredibly deep aquarium, guys. This is optical illusion here. This is the masterful use of shadow and depth. So number 2. We talked about this kind of a sort of a beginner to beginner intermediate take on a diorama, kind of meets Brazilian. You know, it's okay. It's okay. And number one, definitely a more of a simple, kind of a straightforward Brazilian diorama. Definitely. Like I said before, most Brazilian dioramas have more epiphytes up front, a little bit of wood, a little bit of rock, but really usually heavy on the epiphytes, the booze, the moss, what have you. This is pretty light, but it's definitely a Brazilian style. Unfortunately, you have that kind of strange placement and use of that pod of Hydrocotyla tripartita on the left side. That's a little strange. I would have gone with something else there. So guys, I think that is about all that I had for this live stream. Now, I had said that in chat I was going to try to give you guys a look at the Apistogramma sp. abacachi that I have going on. They've really come out of their shell. They're doing super well. They're eating frozen live food, even flake food now like crazy. Unfortunately, the official redfish, bluefish walkabout cam is on the fritz right now. It is not working whatsoever. I was actually hammering away at it for about 15-20 minutes before the live stream started. That's why I kind of wasn't chatting much after a while there. So I wanted to share these amazing apistogrammas with you guys, but we will get it working, and I'll figure out how to I'll try to focus, do a special on them, at least a feature segment on them for the next live stream. They're doing really, really well. They're just about ready. I mean, I could end up selling them now, but we're working on our website and getting our agreements with FedEx nailed down and all that good stuff. So guys, I really appreciate you coming by and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed your time here. Bearing with me as I get through these aquascapes and talk about why I like them so much. And you know, I've been reading your comments along the way. A lot of people are like, nah, it's not for me. It's too much work. It's too much work. No problem. It's not for everybody. Let's see there. I had to release a comment there. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate you coming by and hanging out with me. Again, my name is Jason. You've been here at Redfish Bluefish. I really appreciate it, and we will see you next Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. That's 1 p.m. Eastern Time right here on FishTube. And until then, I wish each and every one of you peace, love, and happy fish keeping. We'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves.